Alright, Exagles. Today we talk about Cam Wolfe's Welcome Descent. In case the name Cam Wolfe does sound familiar, it rings a bell. It is because you may know him from his YouTube channel. I think it's called the Page Nomad, or however he calls it right now, because I think he was doing some rebranding recently. And he has a great YouTube channel or three about reading, writing, and overall he's a very chill dude. Definitely one of my favorite author-tube channels. I have read his story in local haunts here, where I also contribute one story, not as good in my opinion, but whatever. I love the story, so I have heard that he had a book coming, and I saw that yes, Welcome to Descent is coming out this January. So I jumped at the opportunity. I got it, and I've read it quite some time ago. I think a couple of months ago. But yeah, I'm just have a backlog of videos I want to do. So yeah, it's not working that well for me. A very busy schedule. The problem with me getting excited and getting this book is that I may have forgotten that it might be the type of a horror book that I don't quite enjoy. And Welcome Descent, which I got on Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy on me. There will be a picture somewhere around this image. I'm not sure where I'll put it in the editing process. Never mind that. It's a psychological horror novel. Our protagonist, Joe, or Joseph, because both names are used throughout the book, used to be a successful businessman, but all it took it was one bad week. And then he lost everything. And right now, the book begins with Joseph in being all alone, without his wife, without his son, drinking his pain away while doing some city jobs to survive. There's a storm coming to his city, so he is going to end up trapped at home. And as the storm hits, he's trapped and he has to face the demons from his past. So, yeah, if you have seen the video I did about horror tropes I do hate, there is a special place in hell for people who will submit me to a story about a person living a flashback and sort of illusions of former scenes, yada yada, in a story. Yeah, Cam here is doing exactly that. So yeah, that was my biggest pet peeve with this book, and it's purely subjective. So my review is not going to be super excited because of that, and I have to say that yes, this is something I did not like. So in case you enjoy these types of stories, you should know that yes, you can ignore some of my griping. You'll probably enjoy it more than me. Now, for most of the book, Joseph is walking around his apartment block. People are transforming into scary monsters, and he is reliving memories of his past through some very vivid illusions, or maybe not. I won't spoil it for you, but that's the gist of the book. And it was not bad. It was definitely not a bad book. But as I told you, I did not enjoy it, probably because of its subgenre of horror. And I'm definitely waiting for Khan to publish his short story collections, because I believe that it will be a much, much more enjoyable book. For reasons I will tell you about when I explain what I did like about the book, because there are some things I did like, but I'll start with the things I did not particularly enjoy about this book, so that I can end on a positive note. Because yes, don't sound like that. Yeah, you don't expect positive tone, but whatever. What I really did not enjoy about the book was that there was a good chunk of the writing that I did not like at all, and there was nothing wrong with the writing per se or the editing. I think the editing was quite good in this book, not perfect, but nothing out of the ordinary for any book. Maybe a published book too. I believe there were some typos here and there, but you know what? Nothing out of the ordinary. But it was about the pacing. The pacing was very slow in this book, and it's not exactly bad all the time, but here we have a lot of writing of Joseph being alone, going through empty corridors and various rooms in his apartment block or in his illusions of sort. And this does not quite work for me because these parts felt overwritten, like the author was either trying to cram as many words as he could to make the pace seem slower and build tension to that, which doesn't quite work, but I'll return to that. Why tension and horror don't quite work in this book. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe he wasn't confident enough to put fewer words that will paint the picture he wanted. It feels like this book could use far less words, much linear prose, because I think this would fit better with the style of the author. Yeah, that was not exactly what I enjoy about this book. Those parts of it I did not enjoy. And as for the horror, I felt that the horror in this book was far too visual. And when I say visual, I mean it felt like Cam was writing a movie. I mean, there were some creepy encounters, some jump scares, the way people are transforming into monsters that would work excellently in a horror movie, but they don't quite translate in written form in a book. I mean, this book felt a lot like a psychological horror movie that was released 10 years ago. I would watch it as a movie. There was some very interesting imagery here. And yeah, a movie of that would be great. But as a book, it did not quite work for me because a book needs a different kind of horror to scare you, not just visual stuff. And yes, there are some scary parts of a different variety, but for the most part, it feels very visual. Like I'm wanted to have a movie of that story, and he wrote it. And yeah, the storm was actually what sold me this book. It was sort of important, but I don't feel it was quite the focus of the book, and that was a miss for me. And I hope there will be a sequel of sorts because there is enough here to have a sequel of the storm and maybe use it some more as a way to build some struggles for the character or maybe some set pieces that will be more interesting than what we have here. I think that the storm is not quite setting the mood for this because there is not a violent rain at every page, at every turn, or the character having to go outside and face the wrath of the elements. That was quite a miss for me. But there are a lot of things I did like about the book because I gave it a 3-star review. It was not didn't blow me away, but at the end it did not disappoint me because I did like the character interactions. There are some characters here that feel real, and when Joseph or Joe interacts with them, the book shines. And I think that Cam has a knack for dialogue. I think that the story in Local Haunts works exactly because of the dialogue here and the slimmer prose. And yeah, when there is a dialogue scene, the book works. When does not, unfortunately, it's not quite that great. And I think that the biggest problem with this book is that Cam does not play to his strength, to the things that make him stand out as an author. Speaking about the characters, because yes, this is a high point of the book. Joseph, the main character, is not that likable. Okay, he is not a guy you'd like at first. But by the end of the book, I could feel his pain, his suffering, his guilt, the decisions he made that were wrong. And by the end, I would either enjoy a good ending or a bad ending for him, either being redeemed or punished. It was good either way, which is great. That's great. That's what a great character should be. You'd be like, yes, I understand that he screwed up, and I'm waiting for some sweet catharsis. Either way it comes, either good catharsis or bad catharsis. And that's great. That's something great for not to do, to create such a lively character for you that you can really empathize with. This is no this is no small feat, and he makes it. And I feel like this book has a very heavy Stephen King influence. And yeah, maybe the writing style tries to be like Stephen King. Yes, Cam has a very different style to Stephen King. And probably this is why a lot of the things I mentioned working are not working in this book. But it really taps on the spirit of King, of ordinary characters in extraordinary situations, and about inner demons manifesting outside. This is something quite interesting, and yeah, I think it hits this mark quite well. The character of Joseph is the highlight of this book, and the other character he's meeting, yes, I can feel for them. And something I really did like about this book is that it had some very early setups that pay off later. And the way that the past is revealed and we finally understand what led to Joseph's fall through flashbacks was very satisfying, and the pacing was actually good. Yes, the pacing in between was not that great. I told you about this, but the way things are revealed to us and they pay off is very satisfying, and the ending is very satisfying indeed. And I won't spoil you if it's a good ending or a bad ending. Other people did in their reviews. But yes, there are very few loose ends, and there is sort of an opening for a sequel that, yes, I should think that Cam should go for a sort of a sequel, not starting from the end of this book, but if you read this book, you understand what I'm telling you about. And the payoff does not feel cliche at all. And I say that I don't like this type of a story. And if I say that, yes, the payoff was something you are waiting to see what's going to happen, and the way it happens is not 100% bad, it should be high praise because I'm not your reader. I'm the guy who hates your story. And if I say that the payoff is okay, it's great, I guess. So yeah, this book was not the story for me. If it was more to my type of horror story I like, maybe I would give it a 4 stars. Maybe not. I'm not quite sure. But I feel that in this book, either Cam does not exactly represent his strengths as an author, or by writing this book, he crossed the Rubicon and he grew as an author, and that's why I've read such a good story. That's why I've read such a good story here, and that's why I'm waiting for his next book, his short story collection, because I feel that there will be more verity. I hope there will be more dialogues. Come if you're watching, write more dialogues, and I'll enjoy it. I guess I'll enjoy it because from what I've seen, yes, we have a good author here. Again, I won't say if you want to buy the book or not. That was just my opinion, and yeah, I hope it helps you have an idea of what to expect. I'm not an easy guy to. If you've read this book, leave a comment with your opinion. Tell me if you plan to read this book or not, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.